Hello, everybody. I'm Walter Von Hune,
And I'm Mike Clayson.
and we're here on Mike and Walter Talk. And this segment, we're going to do talk about cruises, ocean cruises and river cruises on boats. And both of us have had that experience. And the difference between the river cruise and the ocean cruise and what we think and what our experience has been. So you just got back from a cruise, 15-day cruise, if I may say, Amsterdam to Budapest.
Right, that's right.
And you were gone, but you went here in the winter time, really,
Yeah.
which is different than a summer cruise. So talk about that a little.
It actually worked out great. I mean, and I got to say that we went on Viking cruises, and they were great. They did exactly what they promised. Everything ran like clockwork, and people were where they were supposed to be. The boats were where they were supposed to be. The flights worked out. Everything, the excursions were exactly the way they were supposed to be. Everything worked like clockwork, and there was no friction. It was perfect. And so my wife and I had a good time. The thing I will say about that cruise though was it was odd. It wasn't Viking's fault that it was odd, but going from Amsterdam on the Rhine River and then working our way over through the Main to the Danube and Budapest, that was a east-west corridor for the Nazis during World War II. And as a consequence, those towns along those rivers were bombed to smithereens. And for some reason, their sort of solution, and I don't know if they got together and decided as a group or not, but all these towns decided that the best idea for reconstruction was to rebuild their towns to resemble as closely as possible the way each of these towns existed before World War II. So we had plenty of thatched roofs, and there were cobblestones and lots of masonry and corbelled windows. They were all really cute little German alpine towns, and they were all artificial. I mean, you look at a town like Cologne, Germany, 90% destroyed by Allied bombings.
Except for the cathedral.
Yeah, well, even that got hit a few times.
Yeah.
And you look at like Budapest. The Nazis did a lot of damage on the way out of there, including bombing and destroying the chain bridge. But you would never know. They rebuilt it. It looks exactly like it did in 1940. So it was odd to be on an American ship and to go through this kind of like 900-mile artificial environment of all these towns where it was like, we'll go from one German town to the next German town to an Austrian town, and we go on the tours, and it was like, yeah, we're, this is our town, this is our church, and we're real sorry about World War II, and all of that, all of the stuff that resulted from that, and kind of stop in and buy some lederhosen on your way out, So it was interesting.
But you didn't pick me up a
It wasn't
pair,
unpleasant. It was very pleasant. It's just,
Right.
But I certainly couldn't classify that as true foreign travel. It
Okay,
was,
so
it was like
but
it was a gigantic Disneyland.
Okay. And one thing that you had said to me is every town looked the same.
Very much, yeah.
And then it's like one German town, and it's basically like if you go to Europe and you go to a cathedral,
Right.
and the first cathedral, oh, wow,
Yeah.
look at this. Because it's huge and big and stained glass. You go to the second cathedral, yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
By the fourth or fifth cathedral, you walk in going, yeah, I've seen it, okay.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same. But the cruise and the cruise line on a river cruise, it has these excursions, and you book it because my wife and I did an excursion actually in May of this year where we did the Amsterdam to Basel, Switzerland. And you basically pick your excursions of what you want to do. Now, my wife has knee problems, and she has a hard time walking. And so you have the excursions of easy, moderate, or you better walk a lot. But we always took the easy ones, and then you actually pay for some of the excursions. There's some that are free, and it's great. Like we saw the Kinderdink, the windmills, and which was fantastic. And so there's all of these excursions that you do on a cruise. The other thing, we're talking about river cruises right now, and we'll get to ocean cruises. On a river cruise, you're on ours, I think 160 people. I don't know how many, 180?
190.
190?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're limited to the number of people, and you go to a meal and you see people, the same people, time and time again. We actually made friends that we actually sat with quite a bit and talked to. They were from Chicago, and we got to know them, and they became friends.
Same with us. We made friends with 3 other couples from Michigan and Wisconsin, and thank goodness we had, because it would have been difficult to just have to go in and reintroduce yourselves at every meal and, and go through all the superficial niceties about who you are and where you're from and what your interests are. That would get tiring.
Oh, absolutely. But there are some people on our cruise that wanted to just be alone.
Yeah.
They didn't want to, quote, socialize or anything. And our little group, the 2 couples that we met, and the thing about the river cruise too, the Viking river cruise, what I found, it's not like a Carnival cruise or anything like that. It's made for older people, not older people.
They're old.
There are.
Folks on my cruise were pretty old.
They're older, but for real adults, put it that way, not for teenagers.
They stopped growing.
Yeah, exactly. Which was actually great, because I didn't want kids running around while I'm trying to enjoy this cruise.
Right, but there was a certain Walker aspect to it as well.
yeah. And you tripping that one person is uncalled for.
They deserve it.
But the river cruise, to me, because you go down, like we went down the Rhine, and we went at a different time of year than you did. We sat on the top deck when we're going by all these castles.
Yeah, that is nice. I mean, you asked about it, what it was like traveling in the winter, and I didn't really answer your question. It was great because my wife and I like cold weather. We don't like hot weather.
Yeah.
And so that was nice. It was about the same temperature as Washington. We were prepared for serious winter based on talking to you. I almost brought my mucklucks with me, but it wasn't necessary. I just needed a light coat. It was fine. But we had hoped to go there when it was lighter. And from what I understand, it was less people, but my gosh, it was still crowded. I mean, Amsterdam and Vienna and Budapest were crowded.
Sure.
And people were out doing the Christmas markets, and there was plenty of tourism. So traveling this time of the year is no assurance that you're going to have the place to yourself.
No, but the river cruise, we enjoyed it, and we did an ocean cruise where we went to Alaska. I'm sure a lot of people have done that, which is a bigger ship, 4,000 people or whatever were on that. And that was actually fun, but what you get more with the ocean cruise, you have different restaurants you can go to. On a river cruise, you got one place, you go there every time to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
It's the same room.
Too. You have to have a window to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On a ocean cruise, you could actually eat any time.
24 hours a day.
And you have all these different restaurants that you can go to.
Yeah.
And enjoy the cuisine, Italian or sushi or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have, on the river cruise, we had one guy playing the piano, nice. But on an ocean cruise, you have different entertainment things. You can see different shows, so to speak. And it was, it was definitely different. The one thing that I loved going up to Alaska because I could really see the coastline and the topography and everything. But a lot of cruises go, quote, on the ocean. And to me, okay, I look out the window, yep, still the water.
They call that a cruise day. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay. And yes, for a day, but if I do a cruise for 4 to 5 days and all I have is water, then I have to find my own entertainment on the boat, on the ship. It's not a boat.
It's a big boat. There's lots of stuff to do there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Did you like big boats?
I did. The one ocean cruise that my wife and I took, we went from Buenos Aires to Rio de Janeiro. That was like a 10 or 12 day trip. And went up to Uruguay and Montevideo and it was on Regent, and it was a really nice cruise. We enjoyed ourselves very much. It wasn't as big as I think we had 12 or 1,300 people on there.
That's not a big boat then.
No, it's not a huge boat, but it was bigger than the river cruise. But they had multiple restaurants, and there was food available all the time. In fact, I gained 13 pounds on the last cruise. So that compared to my riverboat cruise, where I got COVID at the end, and I ended up losing like 6 pounds. But anyway, so
you're a +7 right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. I've never been able to get that weight off either. It just doesn't come off. That cruise weight stays. Anyway, so on an ocean cruise, it was nice. The boat's bigger. There's more interesting things to do. There was a gym. The food was certainly much better.
Right.
More varied, and the places that you go. The one thing is that on a ship, and anyone is on a ship the size you were on, but it's a project to get off your ship. I mean, unless they have if they're fortunate enough to dock somewhere, otherwise you're getting off on these gigantic lifeboats, and they're being driven, ferried from the ship to the shore. And all of that, but it was fine. I can't pick one. I can't pick a river cruise over an ocean cruise. I think they both have their benefits. They're both good. They both have their negatives, but they're both excellent ways to see stuff.
I agree. They're both enjoyable. I have to say. But the interesting thing too about the both the ocean and the river cruise. The excursions, that you go on these excursions and you have to be back on the ship at a certain time.
Right.
If you're not back,
without you. If
you're not back, that ship takes off.
That ship, quote unquote, sails.
And you got to find your way to the next stop. And there were people that didn't make it back. And they had to find their way. And I know, Kimberly had bad knees, and at time I'm saying, you got to walk faster. She goes, I can't. And I go, I don't care. Walk faster. And, we made it. We never missed the ship. I think once we were about 15 minutes away from that thing sailing, and I'm going, oh man, that's too close, and stuff. But it is so much fun. It is so much fun.
It is fun. I mean, especially if you take the attitude that I'm not going to see very much of this country. I'm just going to see the port of call where we are, and maybe we'll have an excursion that maybe takes me someplace that I get a tiny little taste of what's going on.
Right.
But if you're not focused on experiencing the country so much as just experiencing the trip, I think that's the attitude you have to have.
No, and you do. And are you still in contact with the people you met?
My wife is, by email.
And okay, well, we sent Christmas cards to our friends. Who knows if we will?
You'll befriend anybody.
There are a few people that I'm not going to befriend, I like people. I like to find out about them. And
you had 45 people in your house for Christmas.
We had a little Christmas party, and you know, and yeah, 45 people in the house, and trying to limit it, but it just keeps growing. But again, we don't know if I'll ever see these people from Chicago again. But if we're ever in Chicago, I would contact them and have a meal with them.
Yeah, same here. I would reach out. We enjoy these people very much.
Yeah.
And we invited them to our house. But it's a long ways from Wisconsin or Michigan
Yes,
here.
exactly. And how often are you going to be in Wisconsin or Michigan or us in Chicago?
Right.
You know, it's not like, oh, let's go there and visit these people, or they come out to us.
Right.
And so, but cruising is definitely a fun way to go if you've never done it. It's not cheap, I will say that, but it's fun. And I know a lot of people do the Caribbean cruises, and you know, it's a good thing. So, anything else?
That's all I got to say.
Me too. So thanks for listening, and hey, cruise along. Bye.
Bye.